Hey there, this is the Leaders World brought to you by Leaders World Institute. It's your corner where we talk with leaders to leaders and for leaders. Yes, we bring cutting edge leadership information to transform your business, your family, your life to the next level. And today we have with us Bobby Allen is right here. He's the founder and CEO for Legacy Leadership Consulting. Oh, yes, his exciting and unique coaching, speaking, and leading spans across the USA, Africa, America, and Europe. He is certified with MHS in EQ, and he is a highly sought after EQ coach, speaker, and trainer. He was an official member of Forbes Coaches Council, which is an invitation-only community of the most innovative and leading business and career coaches in the world. Bobby is a certified member with the John Maxwell team and the John Maxwell mentorship team. He is a keynote speaker, a leader of leaders, a teacher, and he served on the President's Advisory Council for the John Maxwell team. Bobby was one out of 39 top leaders in the country to be personally invited by Ken Blanchard to be speaker at the 2017 and 2020 Servant Leadership Summit with almost 20,000 leaders from above 150 countries. He has authored 3 books: A Love Letter from God, Relational Leadership, The Rest of the Gospel Study, and Leader's Guide. He writes articles and devotionals. And he's also working on his book entitled From Titles to Towels: The Heart of a Servant Leader. Bobby acquired a BA in Biblical Literature and minored in cross-cultural studies from Simpson University. Currently, he is working on doctoral studies in industrial organizational psychology. Bobby is married to his bride, and with their children, they are having an amazing life. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Leaders World, Bobby Allen. You're welcome, sir.
Great. Thank you so much for the privilege to be here together. I feel honored. Thank you.
Yes,
Hoping to
yeah.
enjoy adding value to one another.
The honor is ours. My first question is, should we be having this conversation? Unleashing the creative leader. Should we be having this conversation at all?
Boy, I tell you, we have been, as a planet, we were on lockdown. The whole planet was on a timeout. Didn't catch God off guard or by surprise, but over 7 billion people said, hey, we've got to change the way we think, the way we do things, how we feel. It's a new world. We need to really push our chair up to the front of the desk, lean in and say, how do we live? What do we do now? It's time for creativity.
It's time for creativity. So we should be having this conversation because it's time for creativity. What is the creative leader?
Well, that's a great question. I have the privilege of serving leaders in the faith community and the business community. And one thing I find that's a common theme is with the pandemic and post-pandemic, everything has shifted. Everything in the universe and every human, every business, every organization has experienced a pivot and a shift. And one of the things that I'm really encouraging people to do is don't look for going back to the good old days. Don't think about when everything ends and gets back to normal, then we'll push forward. It's time for creativity. We have to slow way down. What are we doing now? What do we do moving forward? Everything has changed. So the creative mind is critical to come to the table and say, hey guys, when was the last time we did something for the first time? It's time to move forward with that mindset.
Wow. The creative mind says, okay, when did we do something new for the first time?
When was the last time we did something for the first time?
Oh, when was the last time we did something for the first time? So does creativity have to do with doing things for the first time?
Well, I think that's a great question. You know what I'm experiencing in the privileges I have to serve people and add value is it's creativity requires change. It requires slowing way down, and it requires emotional relational intelligence. Change is frightening. Change brings sense of loss and fear. It can bring excitement, but it also creates emotional relational tension. So all of these things come to the table when we talk about creativity, because creativity is asking questions. What if and why not? What if we try that? Why not? It's going to that 30,000-foot business mountain or faith mountain and then jumping and then building your wings on the way down.
Oh, wait. You have said a lot, and I am writing. You said creativity is asking what if and why not. It's going at the top of that business mountain, at the top of that faith mountain, and jumping and building your wings on the way down. My question is, creativity, is it a skill? Is it an instinct? What exactly is it?
Yeah, you know what? I would say yes, and yes, a skill and instinct. But what I'm finding as a man of faith, when I can trust and rest and depend on the one who lives in me, who is my life, I get the privilege to have his creative mind connect with my abilities and talents and giftedness that have been given to me. And that up levels my privilege and my power to be able to think beyond and bigger than myself. So I get to see the invisible and do the impossible by faith in the living God, not just by depending on my own self. So with business leaders, they say, well, I'm not a man of faith. And I say, that's okay. Wherever there are people, you have an organization, because there's people and policy and procedures and programs. So you've got a live, breathing organization. So let's take it from there and let people know creativity is a must, and being able to become an expert with your people, their silent cries, and to be able to say, how can we pull our thoughts, our ideas, our intellectual capacities, our intellectual capital, our emotional intelligence capital, and begin to think things and have conversations about things maybe we've never had before. So everything's okay, nothing's wrong, nothing's right. It's just brainstorming. Come to the table and let's just start speaking and thinking and firing. And we embrace everything. And for a moment, we make everybody right.
So, while you were talking, I was thinking in my head about how leaders can actually leverage on the teams that they have to build a creative mind around their organizations. And it seems to me that's exactly what you've been delving into with us right now. Do you want to speak a little more into that? Like, how can leaders leverage on the team to build a creative mind around their organizations, around their teams?
Yes. Susan, one of the things that I find a privilege is learning with those I serve and encouraging them to become experts of their people's silent cries. People need to know they have value. They need to know they have a voice. And when you're building teams, you need to build the creativity around the people by empowering them, by encouraging them, by giving them privilege to know the why behind the what. You got to take them from the rut of the what to the wonder of the why. Everything's based and predicated off what do I do?
Tell us a little more about the wonder of the why. Tell us a little more.
The wonder of the why. Yes, the wonder of the why is where the magic is. It's where the breakthrough is. It's where the creativity lives. It's where the next step of growth personally and professionally comes from. It's the foundation. You know why? Most of us think about and hear about in business, in life, what do I do? What do you need? What's my job description? What's expected? What next? But everybody needs a vision to hang their what do I do hat so they can grab their why hat so they can feel significant, so they can feel valued. They can feel like they have a voice. They can see that without you, we can't be fully creative. So we will empower you. We will bring up and out of you a voice you didn't know you had, a perspective you didn't know you had. You will add value. You matter. You're significant. So vision is critical. And vision, you got to remember, vision leaks. Creativity is difficult if you don't keep replenishing the wonder of the why bucket that holds vision, because people forget why they're doing what they're supposed to do. And then they feel just like a hired hand, a number. They don't take ownership. They don't have a sense of, I matter. Without me, we can't pull this off. That's a humble confidence, not an arrogance. Leaders bring that environment. They create that safety. People could take risks and say, what if? Why not? I have a thought. They raise their hand. That's difficult to do because they got to speak. You know, studies have shown the number one fear of humans, guess what? Is speaking in public. Number two is dying. People would rather die than speak up in public.
People would rather die than speak up in public. You know, as you were talking, I was thinking about somebody might be listening to us and they are saying, well, I don't have a position, like a title, like a leadership position in my organization. How can I be of value in this whole creativity thing? How can I be of value in adding to the creative mind of my organization? I don't have a title. How can I do that? Is that even possible?
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that. You know, one thing I get the privilege of enjoying is helping every human being know they have significance and that they matter. It matters to God you woke up this morning. You're not just taking up space and sucking up air. You have a purpose, you have a place. And great leaders come alongside other humans and make champions out of them. Great leaders don't cross the finish line first or alone, and they always bring people with them, and they share the purse. We fade in the woodwork. We fade in the woodwork. Move everybody to the front of the line and watch them soar. But the issue is that I find is a lot of people say, well, I don't have any power. I don't have title. I don't have anything. Then guess what? Leadership is about the people, all the time. So as long as you can have emotional, relational influence, you can lead. You don't need a title. You don't need power. You don't need position.
You know
You get
what?
to influence.
Emotional, relational intelligence and influence.
Yeah.
When I posted this advert for this broadcast, some people were asking me, what is EQ? What is emotional intelligence? I said, come to the broadcast. So now you're touching already into us needing to have this emotional and relational influence. Does that have to do with being a leader and having a position and a title? What is it?
Yeah, I think that's very important. You know, to complete the insightful question you asked, do I need a title, position, and power? I remember Sam Walton back in the day was talking, and he was saying, this impacted my life. He's the founder of Walmart's.
Yes.
He used to fly to every Walmart and visit personally and do what I call LBWA, lead by walking around. And all he would do is give a word, a look, a touch. A word, a look, a touch. Just add influence, just add value. He didn't go correct anybody. He didn't give anybody a review. He just went to cheerlead and encourage and empower and remind people that they matter. And they were getting ready to start on one location, 126 employees, managers, supervisors, the whole nine. And Sam Walton was there with his team, executive team flew in, and they're getting ready to start. And three people stood up and said, sir, Cynthia's not here yet. Can we go find her before we start, sir? And he says, sure. And he looks at his people and says, who's Cynthia? And his executive team said, I don't know. He said, please, by all means. They come back 5 minutes later with Cynthia. The three of them walk in first. Cynthia walks in last. 126 Walmart executives, employees, everybody stands up. Leaders, supervisors, standing ovation. Cynthia walks in. Sam Walton walks over to her and shakes her hand. He says, "Ma'am, I apologize. I don't know what you do for us, and I'm not sure who you are." And she said, "Sir, I've got the wonderful privilege to clean up all the urinals and all the messes on the aisles. And I'm honored, sir." He said he stood looking at her, fighting back tears. He was in the midst of a giant of a leader with no title, no position, no power. But nobody in that Walmart, including all the executive staff, would start until she was there. That, my friend, is emotional, relational intelligence and leadership at work that doesn't need a title, position, or power. That's creative leadership. That's unleashing the leader of today.
Wow, wow, wow. Do we even need titles finally? Do we even need titles finally?
Now you're teasing me because I finished up my book. It's going through the publishing process from titles to towels.
Ooh.
You know, the uncreated creator left his title and wore a towel. What are titles? We can use them if we have to. The creativity for titles are there. But I tell you, if you look at somebody more accomplished, successful, and significant because they have a title, you miss the power of a towel. Oh, wow. There's nothing like being a servant first, a leader second.
Oh, wow. Being a servant first, a leader second.
People might follow you because of your title and your power, but you only have their loyalty 9 to 5. If you know how to wear a towel, they will follow you 24/7, 365. They're ready to attack hell with squirt guns, man. Just when you want to go, Susan.
I've chew on this for a long while. Can you just repeat everything you've just said about titles and towels and how people would follow you 9 to 5 because of a position? And
well, here's what I'm finding. I had the privilege to train 100 global leaders the last 7 weeks with a big company. And here's what I found in tuning in with these folks. Not only did I feel honored and privileged to just add mutual value to one another, but here's what I found. They're hungry to understand what's missing that I can't put my finger on, and what do I call it? And when I offer the label of emotional intelligence, that thing that is, it's a set of emotional relational skills. It's to perceive and express ourselves, to develop and maintain social relationships in a safe environment, to cope with challenges without experiencing emotional flooding or emotional hijacking. It's using the emotional information in an effective and meaningful way. So it's slowing way down. The emotionally intelligent leader, the creative leader, starts like this with every human. In their mind, you matter. You're already successful. You're already great. I'm just going to bring it up and out of you. And I want you to know your title doesn't make you more significant, more successful, and more secure. It's knowing who you are. It's knowing why you're still on the planet and what you can do to add value. And when you look at people, they already matter. And when you look at them to understand that they can't afford to be impressed with titles anymore. They want to be impacted by towels. They need to know that the leader cares for them, that they matter. They need to know that they're more than just another employee, or they're someone who has to produce and pull it off and hit the bottom line goals. Yes, that's important. But I tell you, it's tough today. When the average person changes careers 5 times in their lifetime, not jobs, careers, because they just can't find that sweet spot. And I tell you, the unleashing the creative leader, the emotionally intelligent leader, I think is the missing ingredient. In my opinion, emotional intelligence is the next step of growth for humanity, starting with the leader, with leadership.
You have been connecting emotional intelligence and relational intelligence with the leader in this conversation, but I still would like you to delve more into that. Like, how pertinent is the connection between the creative leader? Because we are here to talk about unleashing the creative leader. How pertinent is that connection between the creativity of the leader and this aspect that you are bringing us into, which is emotional and relational intelligence? Is it possible to be a creative leader without this aspect of emotional and creative and relational intelligence? Or is it a must for every leader that wants to be creative? Or does it mean that if you're a leader that's emotionally and relationally intelligent, that means you are already a creative leader? Are they
Yeah,
synonymous?
that's a great
Is it the
question.
same thing?
Yes, that's a fantastic question. There's about 5 layers to that question. If I may, I'll just touch on them, at least as I heard you. First of all, I realized something in my own story, my own journey. I was an EQ train wreck in my early years of leadership. So I know there's hope. I know I'm a product of the product. I know emotional intelligence in leadership is being able to leverage the humanity of yourself and others. You got to remember this in leadership: people are your greatest appreciable asset.
Yes.
And if you can value them and treat them like humans, treat them like they're already successful, they're already great. I believe they were created that way. I really do. I think they're seeking it, searching for it, and comparing for it. They don't know they already are it. They just don't know what it looks like for them. And when you can communicate with them and connect with them, and you're able to bring up and out of them to help them see who they really are, that's when they bump into more awareness, which is part of emotional intelligence. So, do you need to be a leader? Do you have to have a title? Do you have to run a company or a business or a church? Mom and dad, you need to EQ with your son and your daughter. Husband and wife, emotionally intelligent love, connecting with people, listening, not just speaking. Listening, not just hearing, is emotional intelligence. Every human in every company, every faith community has a level of emotional intelligence.
Okay.
I believe it's just adding value and making it more intentional by labeling. What you can label, you can interact with intentionally. What you cannot label creates ambiguity, fog, confusion. Where there's ambiguity, there's lack of clarity. Where there's clarity, there's the ability for the decisive decision making because there's clear context. So let me say that again. What you can label, you can interact with intentionally. When a 3-year-old walks into a room, a 2-year-old, and grabs a knife on accident off the counter or something, everybody in the room gets nervous. Why? The 2-year-old can't label it. So they put themselves at risk and everybody in the room. They can't interact with it intentionally. If a 22-year-old walks into a room with a knife, we might think, what are they doing with that? But we don't have the same fear and concerns. They can label it. They can interact with it. When you don't understand who people are and who you are, it's difficult to interact with humans at the highest level. So the first step of growth is I have to become a product of the product. Do I emotionally or relationally really understand me and get me? Do I know what makes me think? What makes me do that? Why did I say that? How do I pull back? How come I felt so nervous when they walked in the room? How come I pull back when certain people are around? How come I didn't speak up? I knew what to say. How come I got nervous why did I feel that other person's more important than the other person because of their title? So I believe, as what I'm experiencing in serving people, is making people more aware. Hey, how do you perceive, develop, and cope with emotions and relationships at full capacity? Because every joy you have, every sadness you have, every success, every failure had to do with emotions and relationships from other humans. People don't leave bad companies, they leave bad leaders. People don't leave bad companies, leave bad managers. People don't leave churches, they leave people.
Right.
You get hired for IQ and get fired for EQ. Jane, you're doing great. You're making us bank. You closed a multi-million-dollar deal.
For IQ and you get fired for EQ. So is the creative leader the same as the leader that is emotionally intelligent? Is the
Yeah.
emotionally intelligent leader the same as a creative leader?
Yeah, I think what I'm hearing you say, if I may, I'll feed back to you, make sure I'm hearing you correctly. I want to be able to listen to you, not just hear you.
Yes.
Otherwise, if I listen to you and if I hear you and don't listen to you, I will autobiographically hear, not relationally listen. Autobiographically hearing is a low EQ because you're thinking, when you autobiographically hear, you're thinking about, what am I going to say? Oh, that reminds me of something. Oh, I can't wait to say this, when the person's still talking. Or I might say, that reminds me of a story. And then I start talking about myself. I was autobiographically, I was taking this stuff in, thinking about me. When you listen compassionately and relationally, you make it about them. What is she saying? Listen to what she says. Listen to her, for her, about her. So now, creative versus emotionally intelligent. There are a lot of creative people. Entrepreneurs are very creative. They think in the realm all the time of what if and why not. I know one of my clients, every time she picks up something, she can make something out of it. We'd be kicking it around, seeing it as junk. She picks it up and creatively, she made something that could be sold and purchased. She's creative. And one of the next things I've been working with her in is emotional intelligence, because she still needed EQ. You can have the greatest product in the world, the greatest business in the world, but if you lack emotional intelligence, being an emotionally intelligent leader, that amazing idea that could be a breakthrough for everybody still sits on the shelf in your closet because you didn't have the emotional intelligence and the leadership to know what to do with it. So I think you need both. But I think the creative idea, the creative mind, the gifting and the skill set that is brilliant. Add emotional intelligence, the timing, the delivery, becoming an expert of the people I'm working with, understanding their silent cries, working differently with every person who reports to you. Why? There's 10 styles of leadership. And to master those and know, Jane and Bill and Steve and Sam are all different. I can't lead them the same.
Yes.
I'm going to use this leadership style for him, this leadership style for her. And just being able to serve them, meet them where they're at, slow way down. You're a servant first, a leader second.
Wow.
Create emotional, relational connection, not just verbal communication, not just clarity.
So Bobby, from what you're saying, it's not about saying, oh, this is who I am. This is my leadership style. And this is how I'm going to lead this organization or this business. This is how I am. I am this type of leader. This is how I am going to do it. So what you're telling us is it's about looking at everybody that you're privileged to lead and asking yourself, what is the best style of leadership that might work well for bringing out the talents and the giftings of this individual as a person, as an individual, and actually listening to them with the heart and hearing them and being able to bring out the best in them.
Beautifully. Hey, you said it better than I did. So I think the beautiful thing is you approach people with the value they already have, adding value. For me, a man of faith, man, hey, God, you know their heart, you know their life, you know how they're wired. I'll participate in your love for them and their next steps. They're already successful and great. They were born that way. That's why when God created everything at the beginning, he said it's great. When he created man and woman, he breathed on them. In the Hebrew, that's a kiss. He imparted in them an embrace of emotional, relational connection, not in anything else in creation, although everything is beautiful and important and critical. So humans, I think, people are God's passion. So to approach people with realizing you already are of value. Remember Cynthia at Walmart? I get the privilege of cleaning up the urinals. She felt like $1 million. She didn't need a business card or title, did she?
I love this conversation a lot because we keep talking about the people. We are here to talk about unleashing the creative leader. And I discovered that the conversation is all about the people. It's all about who the leader should be all about.
Right.
And I am just loving it. Hey, when we come back, we'll be talking about the steps or the ways or the strategies to actually unleash that creativity. You might want to put in the chat
Nice.
hashtag unleashing the creative leader. Let's know you're here.
For your corporate and personal needs.
Leaders World Institute, changing lives, one leader at a time.
Hey, this is the Leaders World. We are here with Bobby Allen. He is throwing gems all over the place. He is throwing gems like with every sentence all over the place. Just pick what you're picking. And remember, we are here to take your business, your organization, your family, your life, your coaching, your mentoring one step forward. Let us know what this is doing for you. All right. Make sure you also write down your action steps. What is that one or two actions? What are those two actions? Or what is that one action you're going to take from today? All right. We need to know so we can be part of your journey and know just how we can be part of your journey. So write it down and don't leave this place without an action step. Do not leave this place without knowing what is that light bulb that you're going to follow, that trail that you're going to follow to take your whatever matters to your business, family, your personal life, your coaching, your mentoring to the next level. Make sure you're writing. You might want to come back to this broadcast and listen to it again. I go back to these and I listen to them again because there is stuff that I just can't grasp everything all at once. So I have to come back. Let us know how this is working for you. And we're saying shout out to all of you who are on here right now. And you're putting in the chat hashtag unleashing the creative leader, because right now that's what Bobby will be talking about. Are you a leader? Have you been wondering about how to unleash that creativity? Bobby, it's over to you. How do I unleash that creativity as a leader? How do I unleash the leader in me that wants to be the creative leader? How do we do that? How do we even go about that?
Yeah, I really appreciate your question. In working with people, developing and training leaders, developing and training humans to live from their full redemptive potential, live from full capacity, whoever you are. If you're not 1 in a million, you're 1 in over 7 billion. And here's the reality. Whatever you do, it matters. It matters. It matters. So the creativity part I'm finding is very interesting. I think I have found everybody's creative in their own right. Okay. They don't believe it because they compare with other people. And there's nothing wrong with having mentors and people who inspire us and who bring best out of us, encourage us. But when we compare always brings despair. So we end up not focusing on who we are. We're a conglomeration of everybody else who's ever impacted our lives. But everything that makes me good, bad, and indifferent, strengths, weaknesses, failures, hurts, habits, hangups, strengths, weaknesses, skills, abilities, talents. Creativity comes for the individual by believing everything about me is ready. Everything about me matters. Everything about me is beautiful. It can be leveraged. I'm not a train wreck. I am not a sum total of my worst hour, my worst day. I'm not the total of my worst experience or the thing I've done. People live with so much shame and regret that creativity is choked. So when you can help people grow in emotional intelligence, they get freed up to realize I'm not what I do. My identity is not based on my behavior and people's opinions. My performance plus other people's opinions does not equal my value, my identity. When you believe that double-edged sword lie, my performance plus other people's opinions, it chokes creativity and it puts roadblocks to understanding your identity. And for the person of faith, your identity in Christ. Christ is your life, that by grace through faith. Why? The power is God's grace. And the life is his, lived through the creative leader. Now, people say, hey, Bobby, you know us here at, I'll make up a organization, to Underwater Basket Weaving. We didn't bring you here to talk about faith, although we respect you because we're getting value from what you teach us. So we're a little confused because we're getting such value. But no problem. You're creative. There's a way to put your creative mind and heart and skill set and gift mix into action. Ready? Value people. People are your greatest appreciable asset. You get to approach people as a winner first, as somebody who matters. And when you can study them and get their edges and begin to see their emotional relational disposition, you can see what their passion points and their pain points. Creativity of how to reach them comes to fruition. The invisible becomes visible in the creative realm. You go, oh, I get her. This is her passion point. When I brought that up, it brought a little concern to her. She moved back. You don't assign motive and read mind. That's relational abuse. Careful. When you start getting people's edges, never assign motive or pretend you can read their minds. My label for that is relational abuse. Well, I know her. I worked with her. I know what he's going to say. Believe me. When in doubt, shout. You got to ask questions. Become a master question asker. You lose your creativity in how to lead that person in that department, how to take that middle management or that C-suite leader to the next level. You'll lose the creativity edge for them if you begin to assign motive and read their minds. Why? You got to give them the privilege to have the conversation, and you have to listen to them. Listen for them, to them, about them. Make it about them. This is why my latest definition for leadership, for me,
Yes.
Leadership is about the people, all the people, all the time.
It's about the people. Leadership is about the people, all the people, all the time. Wow. If this is not the simplest definition of leadership I have heard, I don't know what is. And it actually, yes, it encapsulates every other definition I have ever heard. But I don't know if you've been hearing, Bobby, about unleashing the leader's creativity, unleashing the creative leader. And if I should put it in my own words, if I were actually listening, and yeah, if I were actually listening, Bobby told us that first of all, you have to believe that everything about you is beautiful. Because if you allow shame and regret, it's going to choke that creativity, and you won't be able to release and unleash that from within you and be of impact in your leadership, in the space that you want to have power and impact and influence in. And I think Bobby also told us about your performance not being you. Oh my goodness. Your performance is not you. So it's not because you had a bad day at work that makes you. And he told us, just know that you are creative. We are talking about unleashing the creative leader. Bobby says you are creative. Hey, next step, value people. Oh my goodness. Like, how simpler could it get? Like, just valuing people. Oh, the last one, Bobby, before you speak, you said become a master question asker.
Yes. Yeah, most of what I've learned was from the School of Hard Knocks, of knowing what not to do and failing. And I've had so many great coaches in my life and people who have inspired me. I just plagiarize from them and mix it with my way God's wired me. But Howard Hendricks, he was one of my coaches for a while back in the day. And I got the privilege to go with him to a week leadership conference. And every day he got to pour into me. And that's one of the things that he really just drilled into me, is helping understand the value and helping him understand, like things you were just saying. And here's the thing, the creativity can get choked by people not having a voice, having self-limiting beliefs, dated tapes. They define themselves by something that went wrong when they were younger, because someone they respected and looked up to didn't approve. And when they're young, they have limited editing controls. So they believed the problem was about them instead of just a problem about something or someone that could be walked through and talked through. They made it part of their identity. They thought, if I could only do better, he would like me more. If I could change and do it right, I wouldn't be so lousy, not good enough. So we take on a self-limiting belief. We take on a lie. If you believe a lie long enough, it feels like the truth. And now we're not 5 or 15. Now we're 25 or 45. Could be successful in ministry or in business with that subconscious tape playing. I'm not stupid. Be a cold day in hell I ever look stupid in front of another human. So now they're driven to succeed and be creative, because the subconscious tape is, I will never be said stupid again, be thought of as stupid. So they succeed from not all the healthiest emotion. They succeed from not the healthiest agenda. They get the job done. They're the greatest. They got the VP role, or the C-suite role. But nobody realizes why they're emotionally, relationally disconnected, why they're driven, because they're successfully failing. Their professional life is outpacing their personal life.
Oh, wow.
So they get their identity out of their achievements, out of their church, how many people I have, or my business, multi-billion-dollar, my Fortune 500, Fortune 100, Fortune 50. What are we doing? How are our numbers? Very important in business. Very important.
Wow.
But when you have emotionally unhealthy people, they don't know who they are apart from what they do. And that agenda and pressure creates a culture in your business and your relationships that could, little by little, erode the healthiness of that culture. Why?
Wow.
Because your people make up the culture. Culture's critical. Culture eats vision for lunch. How healthy are the people? No business, no organization has ever exceeded the growth of the leader leading it. So if this is Bobby Allen at Legacy Leadership and Coaching, all the people and all the business and organization under me will never grow further than me. If I don't grow, nobody or nothing grows. The law of the lid. So I have to keep growing.
Bobby, how then do I, as a leader, separate my role from my identity? How then do I, as a leader, separate what I do from who I am?
That's beautiful. You know what I have found? By investing and pouring into people and helping them understand what is emotional intelligence. How do I understand what I'm thinking, and how do I connect to what I'm feeling in every human encounter and in every decision needing to be made at full capacity? How do I respond instead of react? How can I come to the business table a more healthier me? EQ is not like IQ and personality. IQ and personality peak at 17. EQ can be learned a lifetime. We grow emotionally, relationally healthy. Now, I love the redemptive community. Let me tell you what I'm finding. Me included. I told you I was an EQ train wreck. Even the redemptive community, where the church is the hope of the world. I've got beautiful, wonderful pastors and leaders in ministry I believe in, counselors who are wonderful people, but they sometimes struggle with low emotional intelligence. And in the church, some of them don't even believe emotions are a discipleship issue. They think it's 𝗁𝗂𝐵𝐵, or they think it's non-spiritual. This is not right. This is not from the Lord. And Jesus showed emotion all through Scripture. The emotions of God and Jesus drip off every page. Look at every conversation. He was able to influence the outcome by emotionally and relationally connecting, not by just spouting out Bible and theology and the right thing to do.
You know what I realized is that where there are experiences, there are emotions. Where there are experiences, there are emotions. Whatever those emotions are, because our experiences, they come with different types of emotions. But my question to you at this time, Bobby, is unleashing the creative leader. What does failure, hardship, or just hindrances, what do they have to do? Opposition, struggle. What do they have to do with unleashing the creative leader?
Yes. I think the relationship between struggle and opposition and creativity is critical. I think struggles and opposition and difficult times are the perfect groundwork for creativity to come alive. I think you can't get fully creative until you come to places where you feel stuck, where you feel this is beyond me. It's beyond my pay grade. Don't know what to do. Most employers today are not hiring people who have tons of experience in a field. Come on in. We know you're a leader. We're going to give you the ball. You're going to score. We're kind of happy you don't have a bunch of 15, 20 years in this department, in this field. We want you to come in, throw your leadership, gift mix, and skill set in this department, and just creatively figure it out. See, so allowing yourself to be put in situations for struggle and opposition and not knowing, and knowing the difference of who you are apart from what you do, you'll know your value is stable. It's secure. My worth is secure. It doesn't depend on my performance and your opinions. I'm good. So it causes me to be freed up and be more creative to succeed and excel because my life and identity doesn't depend on it. I'm just free to win. I don't play to lose. I have the freedom to play to win. So the creativity. I remember one time Michael Jordan said in an interview, they said, how do you make those shots? He goes, I just love doing what I do and being me, and creative genius and the miracle shot comes out of it.
That brings me to another question, Bobby. What is the relationship between loving what you do and unleashing that creativity?
Well, now at the risk of sounding on the negative side, I'm finding people have a difficult love-hate relationship with themselves based on their last failure or the regret they're still holding on to, or maybe they crashed and burned at one point in their journey and they haven't been able to fully recover. They've believed the lie that I'm toast, I'm done. And I tell you, here's the thing. If people can learn, and all of us as leaders can pour into people and let them know your value and your worth. To me, I believe in you in your worst day and your best day, because life and success is messy. It's not linear. So when leaders can give
it's a
people
messy journey.
When leaders can give people a place they feel safe, it's okay. As John Maxwell says, fail forward. What I love to say is failure is your friend and risk is a myth. If you haven't failed this month, work on a good failure. You're playing it too close to the vest. There's no creativity there. Fail at something and fail big.
Fail at something.
Fail big. Drop the ball already.
Right,
Why?
right.
Because if you're just trying to shoot and make the shots that you feel confident, shoot the ball. Why? Well, I know everybody has their place on the court and their sweet spot. I get it. I'm using the sports analogy. In business and working with people, let your people know their greatest goal is not to blow it. So if the CEO or the VP walks up to the people on floor 18, goes all the different floors. One of my guys I was coaching, I encouraged him to go to all 7 floors and every week, at least one time, do LBWA or MBWA, manage by walking around or lead by walking around, and do 3 things.
Wow.
Give a word, a look, a touch. Give a word, a look, a touch.
A touch. A word,
And
a look,
a touch.
Wow.
And I tell you what, let them know. Just get in there and let them know that they matter. Hey, how's your wife's headache doing? I noticed last time we talked, you said she had a headache. They go, Susan, remember that? That was 2 weeks ago.
Bobby, I was hoping you would link the unleashing the creative leader with doing what you love or being engaged in work that you actually love. And
well, here's the thing. Do people love what they do? A lot of people are stuck at a job. They don't love what they do. They have bills to pay. And they're good at what they do because it's an ability, but it's not their passion. You know how many people are good at things? People have great skills and abilities. And just because it's a skill and ability, you don't have to admit or believe that it has to be your passion. Abilities. People have over 475 abilities, every individual. And that doesn't mean any of those can be your passion. It means it can become a hobby or a secondary skill set that you can do for a short season. It could add value to people, but 80% of your time should be in that wearing that one hat, the main hat. 80% of me is focused in this lane because this is who I am. This is where the reward and the return come. Here's my passion space, my sweet spot. Find what you love to do. When you do what you love to do and people love what you do, slow way down. You're walking around your passion place and your sweet spot. People will pay for whatever comes after that because it'll come up and out of you as you, and the motivation, morale, momentum will kick in because it's you being you. And people will say, I want that.
Wow.
And then you charge for it and it becomes a business.
Wow, wow, wow.
So
Okay.
you can't love what you do if you don't love who you are.
Okay.
And you can't really love what you do if you're not in your passion place, your sweet spot, your divine design, because you're out of alignment with how you've been wired and designed. You do good and you get results, but you're not doing great. You're working harder instead of smarter. And you get good stuff done. There's a great book out. I love it. It's called Good to Great. I think there's one thing missing in that wonderful book. From good to great to God.
The one G that's missing.
Yeah. Because your identity and your DNA and your wiring originates from the one who created you and made you.
Bobby, this has been such an amazing conversation. If you're listening to us and you have a question, friends, this is your opportunity to ask your question, because in about 6 minutes, we are leaving this place. And Bobby is ready to answer your question. And if I see your question, I'm going to take your question first before my question, because I still have a ton of questions. While I'm asking this question to Bobby, you might be writing your question now. But my question to you, Bobby, is what are some of your daily rituals? What are some of the daily habits that you practice that have really clearly impacted your life a lot?
Boy, you don't mess around with asking questions, do you? You know, I tend to shy away from to-do lists and codes and, you know, the way, hey, give me the method, give me the 5 steps, the 6 keys, the 4 secrets. Having said that, out of my relationship of beginning to be in alignment and have affinity with myself, being a man of faith, hey, God, when you and I are loving each other and hanging out, what do I do that's an overflow? You know what? You ready for this? First thing I do, I make my bed. I make my bed. Because you know why? I hate making my bed. Can't stand it. I loathe it. I loathe it. My bride's not going to make it. My bride doesn't believe in the universe till after 11. She wants to sleep. So, but here's the thing. You know why I make it? Because what I'm finding, creativity is unleashed in doing the things you don't like to do. You just do it because it's the right thing to do. What I'm finding is creativity is unleashed when I do the things I don't like to do, but I do them. Lack of creativity, people only do what they want to do and should do when they feel like it. Creativity is unleashed when you do what you should do when you don't feel like it.
Wow.
So I practice unleashing my creativity every morning by going, I got to make this dumb bed. I hate it. And when I'm doing it, I go, oh, yeah, I put the pillows in there and put the thing. And king size bed. You got to do the, comforter, and then because I want it to look good, right? Because my environment for me, I'm an environment and experience person. I don't have creativity unleashing. If I can't rest in my environment, I'm an environment and experience person. I got to enjoy the environment and enjoy the experience, and creativity goes. People say, I know a hole-in-the-wall restaurant. Great food. I believe it's great food, but the experience and the environment is critical for me. I'll lose my ability to unleash creativity there, even if the food's good. That's practical. So I make my bed and I experience doing what I want to do because it unleashes creativity and it works out my creative muscles. Don't live by your emotions. Don't be controlled by your emotions. What is the thing to do here? What's right?
Okay.
So I start there. And then for me, I think, what will I do today that would add value to another human? I want to be an adder today. Whoever talks to me comes my way. How can I sincerely, without being cheesy, how can I add value to them? How can I give a verbal bouquet away today? Look, if I see something good, if I think something good, I'm going to say it something good when I see you. It's got to be real and authentic, because anything I do today that's leadership driven because of my title, my position, and my power, that doesn't change the way a human feels about themselves and doesn't change how they live, for me, it was wasted effort and it was about me. And when I make leadership about me, I build a monument instead of a movement. And I've been at a place in my young leadership where I built a monument. I don't want to do that again. People get hurt when you motivate, inspire, empower, and train and fuel and tool them to build the monument with you. Now it's about the people. It's about the people. How can I build a movement in you and through you and for you? And together we create a culture bigger than ourselves where we can add value and value everyone every step of the way. Leadership is about the people all the time.
Bobby, this is not my most favorite time of the show. We all know why, right? Don't you all know why? It's not my most favorite time. But hey, we know you have other responsibilities and you must go. But my question to you is, Bobby, people have come here because they want to hear you. There are people watching right now. There'll be people that would watch on all the social media platforms, because we are going to throw this all over the place. We are going to put it on podcast. People will be listening. What would be a message that Bobby Allen is giving to the audiences right now? Your final words, Bobby.
My goodness, a summary tag down of what would be the thing I would want to say most to somebody?
Yes, sir.
That God has your name and address, and he's not mad at you. He's mad about you, as much on your bad days as he does on your good days. That God has your name and address, and he's not mad at you. He's mad about you, as much on your bad days as he does on your good days. You're loved for nothing, man. And when you let that burn on the back of your eyelids and etch into your heart, creativity will sprout up, joy will come, shame will begin dripping away, regret will find its rightful place. You'll walk forward, new confidence, new power, and you'll learn every day how to be unleashed for the person you are designed to be and you desire to be.
Well, that was the Leaders Well. No further comment, and we'll see you next time.
For your corporate and personal needs.
Leaders World Institute, changing lives, one leader at a time.